heavyweight division, take the title away from him.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Said he is officially retired, and Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. Unbelievable.
The fact that the illustrious career of Jon Jones, the supposed greatest of all time, ends at a post-fight press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, is a joke. Is an absolute joke. I'm sorry, but this is an absolute joke.
The combat sports world is in an uproar. In a move that concluded one of the most storied careers in MMA history, Jon Jones has retired. The announcement wasn't made in the octagon or with any fanfare, but during a post-fight press conference in Baku, leaving Tom Aspinall as the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. This bombshell development has sent shockwaves through the community, with analysts and former rivals weighing in on what this means for Jones's legacy. But as we'll explore, there may be a darker, more complex reason for this sudden departure. Today, we're breaking down the entire timeline. The abrupt retirement, the explosive reactions, and the new controversy casting a shadow over Jones's exit.
Since I won that fight, he's gone completely quiet, and he'll continue to go completely quiet about me until he retires, because there's no way on earth that he's going to fight me. Not a chance. I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting him.
In his press conference, Dana White did not initially give a specific reason for Jones's retirement, simply stating that once a fighter starts talking about it, they should probably go through with it. He confirmed that the fight with Aspinall had been a done deal for a long time.
You know, we had the fight done. Listen, our job is to make the biggest fights we can make and the fights that the fans want to see, and that's what we try to do. But the minute somebody starts talking about retirement, you know my philosophy on that, you should do it.
Jon Jones has officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the champion. This has been a long story. It seems to have a lot of back and forth. Can you tell us the timeline of Jon accepted the fight, went to Thailand, came back, didn't want the fight? What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
When questioned about whether the negotiations fell apart over money, Dana clarified that this was not the case, and that Jones had been offered a sum befitting a fight of that magnitude.
Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
Dana White also staunchly defended Jones against claims that he was ducking Tom Aspinall. He pointed to Jones's history of fighting all comers, with one notable exception involving Chael Sonnen years ago, as proof that avoiding competition isn't in his nature. Dana suggested that age, with Jones being 38, might have played a role in his change of heart.
Just come out and ask it. Do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again, he's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody, and you know, I think the reality is, whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that, but you know, he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
With Jones out of the picture, Dana made it clear that the focus is now on the new champion. He mentioned plans to meet with Tom Aspinall during International Fight Week to map out the future of the heavyweight division.
Without Jon Jones' era, we should maybe do a big super fight, and maybe you could convince Alex Pereira to move up and do an Aspinall fight, something like that? Or what are you thinking about the Tom fight?
Well, once I get through today, tomorrow starts International Fight Week. I'll be back in Vegas tonight, and Tom will be there all next week, so we'll sit down with him, see what he's thinking, what he wants to do. He's been great through this whole thing, and literally said, I'll fight whoever you guys tell me to fight. I'm ready to go. So looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Tom Aspinall era.
The reactions from the MMA world were swift and sharp, led by two of the sport's most prominent media figures. Renowned journalist Ariel Helwani expressed his frustration, arguing that Jones and the UFC wasted precious time in Tom Aspinall's career.
Tom Aspinall is going to Las Vegas. At the very least, present him the title. At the very least, do something to make it up for this guy who has been sitting there watching his career just waste away for the past 7 months. Oh, by the way, his last fight was almost a year ago, 11 months. Do something. This is the way it happens. This is the way it happens. Something that could have happened at the post-fight press conference in New York. Jon Jones never wanted to take this fight. And anyone who tells you otherwise is not telling you the truth. As I've said time and again, Jon Jones asked for a lot of money.
Helwani reported that after extensive negotiations, Jones was offered the money he asked for, agreed to the fight, and then backed out just a few days later, essentially wasting everyone's time.
He asked for the number that everyone was talking about. He's asked for a lot of money, and as I said time and again, he deserved that money. He earned that money. After much negotiation, the UFC got him that money. Did they ask for help? That remains to be seen, but they got him the number. And Jon Jones said he was in. And then a couple of days later, he said he was out. And ever since then, the UFC has been trying to convince him to come back, to take the fight, one last fight. And he said no. Dana White guaranteed this fight would happen. He guaranteed it would happen as recently as a couple of weeks ago. It was already not a thing. The way in which this has been handled has not been great. And the fact that Tom Aspinall, at the very least, couldn't get some sort of, oh, here's the belt, here's a ceremony, here's your fight, here's your date, is shameful.
Perhaps the most scathing critique came from Jones's longtime rival, Daniel Cormier. DC did not hold back, labeling the retirement as an act of quitting to avoid a fight with Tom Aspinall.
Dana White announced it after the UFC fight night in Baku, Azerbaijan. Said he is officially retired and Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. Unbelievable. I didn't think that it was going to happen this fast. I mean, Jones did put out a statement that said, today I'm officially announcing my retirement from the UFC. The decision comes after a lot of reflection, and I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the journey I've experienced over the years. And boy, what a journey it has been. But here's the deal, guys, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I said, if Jon Jones doesn't fight this guy, Jon Jones quit.
Cormier elaborated, arguing that for a man whose identity is so deeply tied to fighting, walking away at the exact moment a formidable new threat emerges is a clear indication that he was avoiding the challenge. DC believes that despite having a comfortable life, Jones quit on the one thing that has always defined him.
If Jon Jones does not fight Tom Aspinall, he quit. Because he will walk away from something that has defined his entire adult life. When Jon Jones was a junior college national champion and he couldn't go to Division I wrestling and he chose to fight, this is what saved him. When Jon Jones had multiple run-ins with the law outside of fighting, he came back to fighting and it saved him. It allowed for him to build a great life. And honestly, I'm not mad that this young man has a life with his family and they got money and they got all these great things. It does not change the fact that by not stepping in that octagon, he quit.
This decision comes after Jones himself had previously stated that he was only interested in super fights against established champions, not dangerous up-and-comers, and that his legacy was no longer defined by belts.
I mean, I just feel like anybody would understand at this point. Like, you know, I'll retire the heavyweight belt if I have to. It's like, dude, give the guy what he wants at the end of the day, you know? And I'm not talking to Dana directly, I feel like I'm at a place now where, you know, like I want to take what I find to be super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. My body doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger.
Cormier's final analysis is that Jones was aware of the danger Aspinall posed and never had any real intention of taking the fight, choosing to walk away rather than risk being beaten by a younger, fresher opponent.
He talked about how he makes more money than both of us in a week. He talked about fighting Francis Ngannou, but he didn't talk about fighting this guy because he never truly had any intention of fighting this guy. Tom Aspinall was waiting. The UFC was waiting. Everybody's waiting for a decision when in reality, you're the heavyweight champ, you're supposed to fight. You go out there and you do the job. You go fight that dude and you put him in his place. Because the reality is a vast majority of the people that will watch or were going to watch believe that Jon Jones was going to beat Tom Aspinall. Me looking at the fight, and if I look at it objectively, Jones is the favorite. Does that mean Tom won't catch him? No. Stipe was hitting him. Tom might be able to knock him out. But you don't know, because as anyone in the octagon or anyone that goes into the octagon, I will tell you, no one has done that better. Because inside that 8-sided fence, Jon Jones is a mother. Excuse my language. And Luis, you're going to have to bleep that. He is something else inside the 8 sides of that octagon.
Cormier points out that Aspinall is 32, in his prime, and has taken virtually no damage in his career, whereas Jones has been through wars. To walk away now, Cormier says, looks suspicious.
But does it change the fact that him walking away right now, when he's on the older side and the guy that he's supposed to fight's on the younger side, Tom's 32. He's fresh. Tom hasn't taken any damage. Jon has been in wars with those guys, with myself, with Gustafsson, with Dominic. Tom has taken no damage. To walk away right now opens the door for people to start having a conversation about, does this affect the legacy? He's talking about how much money he's making. He's talking in third person. All those hiccups. Ariel's judging him. Chael's judging him. I'm judging him. Bisping's judging him. Demetrius Johnson's judging him. Alexander Volkanovski's judging him. The people that matter to him are judging him. And it didn't matter. All those hiccups. He felt assured that he was doing the right thing, but he wasn't. He's supposed to fight. You know, every great champion, from Muhammad Ali to George St. Pierre to Chuck Liddell to myself, they've all left the ladder down. Very few people don't. Very few people leave without opening the door for that next guy to get a chance. Khabib did it. He fought Justin Gaethje. He fought Dustin Poirier after McGregor, his biggest pay-per-view and biggest payday of all time. He dropped the ladder to the next guy and said, on the way out, I will give another guy a chance to see if he can supplant me.
Just as the community was digesting the retirement, a new story emerged that may provide a different explanation. MMA journalist James Lynch reported on new legal issues facing Jon Jones, noting the suspicious timing of the retirement announcement.
Well, now we may have an idea why Jon Jones retired today, and the UFC announced this. And this is from a report from Jeff Grammer. Now, again, nothing is officially official at this point in terms of this story, but you can read it here. News of UFC champion Jon Jones retiring hits. The Journal has learned of a new criminal charge filed against him this past week in Albuquerque. The details are not good. Let's have a look here right now. So if you read it, the criminal complaint stated that an Albuquerque police officer was investigating a traffic crash near San Mateo and Lomas, which he came across a woman in the front passenger seat of one of the cars exhibiting signs of significant intoxication and lacking any clothing from the waist down.
The details are disturbing. Police reportedly located a drunk woman at the scene of a collision who identified Jones as the driver before he allegedly fled on foot.
When police were able to get Jones on the phone, he was allegedly heavily intoxicated and made threatening statements. The woman later told police she had been drinking alcohol and consuming mushrooms at Jones's house.
She then called Jones, the complaint stated, and the police service aide spoke to the man on the other end of the call, believed to be Jones. He appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties. Again, we've seen this before from Jones, heavily intoxicated, arguing with police officers, getting in trouble. Threatening people. Remember that whole thing with USADA, right? The whole incident there. The woman later told police she drank alcohol and consumed mushrooms at Jones's house and recalled needing to change her clothes at his house. Her next recollection was being at the scene of the traffic accident. The UFC did not mention any of this during the, Jon Jones, retiring, which, understandable, but also you can't really hide from this. They must have gotten the heads up. So, I mean, if I'm just guessing here, and again, it's not 100% official that this happened, but it makes sense that Jon all of a sudden retires on this afternoon card that, again, before 317. I think the time to say that Jon Jones was moving on would have been next Saturday with UFC 317. It's a pay-per-view. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this. This happening during a day UFC card, him retiring. This kind of makes sense if this story ended up coming out. So I'm assuming the UFC UFC must have had the heads up that this was going to happen. And this is why they're trying to get ahead of it by saying, oh, he's retired, it's not our problem or whatever, right? So, yeah. Not good.
With Jon Jones gone, the heavyweight division now belongs to Tom Aspinall. The path is clear for a new era, and all eyes are on the British champion to see who he will face next. The torch has been passed, whether by choice or by circumstance, but the questions surrounding Jon Jones's departure will likely follow him forever. Did he retire on top, or did he walk away from his greatest challenge? And how much did his life outside the cage influence his final decision? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Who should be next for Tom Aspinall? If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to smash that like button, share the video, and subscribe for more breakdowns of the biggest stories in MMA.